Hey, good afternoon, and greetings from Real Stuff, Real Change here in Charlottesville. Hope you're doing well. Saturday, almost 5 o'clock, day before Easter. I hope you guys are all enjoying your weekend and taking time out from your normal grind of going as fast as you can and getting as much stuff done as you can because the world might end tomorrow. So anyway, I am not immune to that. I do that as well. However, I have learned through different concepts how to take my life into my own hands instead of allowing the world and others to create what I need for myself. So with that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about needed improvement and how we can use needed improvement and we can actually create labels, unhealthy labels that become our identity. And so I wanted to ask you, why is it so easy for us as people to take the areas of needed improvement, whether it's needed improvement in our health or needed improvement in our job or our family, being a parent or being a friend? Why is it so easy for us to take needed improvement, whatever it might be, and create labels, things that actually stay with us for the rest of our lives? Labels. We label like a label on a store product, like ketchup label. Why is it so easy for us to take needed improvement and to create labels about ourselves? I mean, if you think about it, it's really simple. It's really easy to do. And we do it all the time and we don't even realize it. And so it's like we're experts at pointing out the what is not. You know what I mean? Like, well, I did all this other stuff over here, but I have these things to do, or I have that to do. So that's kind of what represents me. That's what kind of identifies me. And it's always something that's not beneficial or something that's just not visibly done or seen or accomplished that becomes consistent as a label. And usually it hangs out with us for years and years and years, sometimes for our lifetime, if we're lucky, in an unhealthy way. Hopefully we won't be that lucky if we choose to make changes. An example of this would be a guy who was a billionaire back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Into the 60s, he died in I think 1976. Howard Hughes was a billionaire tycoon involved in the airplane industry, involved in the movie industry, kind of involved in every little area of life he possibly could, as long as he was ambitiously seeking perfection. And that's what Howard's nemesis was for himself. His label was he was compulsive, and to the point where it destroyed him. It controlled everything about him. As a matter of fact, when he died in an airplane. From historical perspective, he died in the plane. He was in a plane, and the people that were taking care of him were drugging. He was on drug. He had drugs in him, like morphine, things of that nature, to keep him alive. He didn't even know what was going on because he was so ambitious about chasing the next project, chasing the next success or the next woman or whatever it might be, and that cost him. And so today, in today's age, he was labeled an obsessive compulsive disorder. That's what it would have been. But really, the label wasn't obsessive compulsive. The label was just not good enough. He just didn't think he was good enough, or life wasn't good enough for him. He always needed to get to the next place or the next thing or the next project or success opportunity. And while there's nothing wrong with working hard, there is something wrong with making that becoming a label on our own self. And so I'm not sure if you relate or at all. I hope you do, in a sense, because we all have something like that inside of us that keeps us going. So in the end, Howard died not good enough. He died not good enough. He died alone. He died without attention. He died without women. He died without an airplane contract. He died without his goals being accomplished. And that's that. He was labeled. That was it for his whole time on earth. And it's sad. And so if we think about it today, a lot of us are living that kind of life. We may not be billionaires, but we're living that kind of life. We're living that kind of labeled, not good enough. It's not just we need to improve, but we just live in that. We live in that dysfunction. And so the question I have for you now is, how do we create these so-called labels? What creates these so-called labels of ourselves? And there's several areas that I wanted to kind of pinpoint excuse me, that are that I think are important to causing these labels. And it's important to understand that we have control over our own lives. There may be outside entities that affect us, but we really have control over our own lives. Even if we don't think we do, we really do. We just have to choose to have control over our own lives. So one area is these labels are produced through our family, through our culture, through our environments, through the people that we have relationships with at a young age. We learn things from people like our mom and our dad and our aunts and our uncles and our grandma and our grandpa. And I'm not saying they're all bad things, but we learn things from them, and we're given a variety of ways to label ourselves. And usually they come from the people that are closest to us, the people that have changed our diapers, that have taken care of us when we're sick, that have helped us with our homework. But there have been creative labels that have been placed into us that represent who we are. And that's one area that this label versus needed improvement comes from. The other area I think about is when you start to work or you start to have a job. Maybe you're a high school kid, or then you go to college. A lot of us have this work ethic. It's not necessarily we need to improve our work ethic. We're not good enough, so we're going to work as hard as we can to not feel that way or not look that way. And we're not going to have the give up mentality. We're not going to take a break, and so we can't rest until the goal is completed, until there's success in front of us. And this includes competition with people around us, career pressure. Coming out of college, you need to get a great job, or you need to go into college and find a perfect degree program to study so you can get out and have great career success, academic success while you're in school. Got to keep the grades up, and these all, while they're important to go after, pursue in a healthy way, become labels. They can become labels, and they're a huge problem in our modern day society. I mean, if you think about this, the highest rate of suicide is between the ages of 18 and 25 right now. 18 and 25. So what goes on between 18 and 25? You transition from high school, you go to college, or you go to a vo-tech school, or you start working. If you go to college or vo-tech school, you graduate, and then you get a job. And so all in that process is all these things I just talked about career and academics that go on that create these labels of not good enough. I can't do it. And so anxiety and depression set in, and you create not necessarily a needed improvement, you create a mess, an emotional mess. And so it's really important to understand what I'm saying here with these thoughts. We have problems. They're bigger than just little problems. They're problems. They're deep-rooted, ongoing problems that have gone on since birth and since childhood. Another area is pains, deep-rooted pains like emotional pains, past hurts, disappointments, failures, unhealthy dynamics that you were involved in, whether it was with mom and dad or it was with a brother or sister. Maybe you were raped or you were abused. Maybe you were sexually or physically abused. Maybe you got involved in drugs at a young age. Maybe your mom and dad did drugs when you were born. Maybe you have fetal alcohol syndrome when you were born. Anything like that that created labels or created weakness. Now that it becomes labels for the most part. And then it dictates fear and hate and judgment. Any of these things, these traits that we hold on to in our lifetime. We may become convinced that we hate people. We may become convinced that we're afraid of everything. We may become convinced that judgment is just part of life. We need to be critical about the things around us, and we never need to trust anybody. All of these things are labels. If we don't deal with them in the right way, they become labels. And finally, our loyalty to those who demand our attention. They're victims, and we have to be there to support their every problem. We have to be there to be, their biggest support, even though they're not changing. If we leave, then we are, we're a traitor. And so they demand less of who we are. We demand less of who we are. And thus we convince ourselves that our primary role in life is to be enabled by other people, to be used by other people. And this right here becomes a belief system that we carry with us into our marriages, into our relationships. And sometimes it never goes away because we don't seek the ability to improve ourselves in a healthy manner. And for myself, when I think about all these things about needed improvement versus labels, I think about growing up. I really believed I wasn't good enough. I really believed that was my identity. And so in order to compensate that, I would work harder and harder and harder at everything I did, whether it was in high school when I worked at Kroger at the grocery store, whether it was in college when I worked at Dollar General when I was going to school, or it was my grades, whether it was in sports, with soccer. I was always demanding more of myself. And really, I wasn't improving. I was becoming a not good enough labeled man or person. And this is a scary thing, because you can deceive yourself. You think you work, you're improving. And really, actually, you're decreasing your ability to be healthy. And think about what I just said there, because that's really, really a deep thought. So a lot of not good enough labels in me. And it created a lot of anxiety. It created a lot of depression. It created a lot of anger. I brought a lot of anger into my marriage. So I am just like you. I have problems that I've had to deal with. The difference is I've taken steps to apply emotional intelligence techniques and models and ways in order to make changes possible, and they have happened in my life. So I wanted to share with you an application I think is important. So how we see ourselves fully is really key to making change possible. How you see yourself as needed to be improved, and how you see yourself as valuable, are both needed in changing and creating lifelong habits. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes for me. Take a deep breath, a couple of deep breaths. Get into a relaxed state of mind. Close your eyes. I want you to notice one area of needed improvement you need to work on. Just one. Just one, not 5, just one. I want you to notice it. I want you to notice how it bothers you. I want you to notice what you feel like. Notice the shape or the colors or pictures maybe that you see there, how you feel when you think about this. Do you get angry? Do you get sad? Whatever happens. Close your eyes and repeat after me. This needed improvement. This needed change. I'm letting it go. It's only a needed improvement. I can improve this. This is not a label. I want you to repeat that phrase 5 times while you're breathing, closing your eyes, relaxing. I want you to say it over and over again. Because the more you say it, the more you repeat it, the greater the capability of letting it go happens. I want you to keep doing that. And once you've done that 5 times, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine you're going to your future. I want you to imagine this needed improvement. That the areas you feel like you need to label yourself, these needed improvements, have changed. I want you to notice the changes. Notice the growth. Notice the success. You didn't have to do more. You just had to imagine it. You just had to notice it. You just had to accept who you were and then make the move. And notice how you feel when you see this needed improvement. Notice you don't have to label yourself. Notice you don't have to worry about what people think. Notice you're not as mean to yourself. Notice you like yourself. You're excited because there's improvement. And you see the improvement and you enjoy its presence. And you believe its presence. And it's a great feeling. And so what I want you to do is I want you to do this exercise at least twice a day. Maybe do it in the morning, you wake up, and do it in the evening when you go to bed. And you just walk through it, and you just, breathe. When you just repeat to yourself, this needed improvement, this change, I'm letting it go. It's just a needed improvement. And then as you do that, then you notice the changes, and you go to your future, and you notice the picture you see of this change. And I imagine if you do this enough, you'll become less willing to label yourself and more willing to value the ability to make needed improvements. So with that being said, hey, I just wanted to share this with you. This is a huge deal when it comes to simple mental health training, training your brain, training yourself to imagine better, clearer, with more perspective. We all have things we need to improve in. And we all have behaviors that we need to change. But let's stop labeling ourselves like we're unable to make those changes. Let's stop putting stickers of words and titles on ourselves and others that make it difficult to make the emotional changes that we need in order to have the life we want. We're only hurting ourselves. We're not hurting anybody else. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy your weekend. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. If you you want to chat with me, you want to talk to me, I'm a busy guy, but I always have time to talk about how we can improve your thinking from an emotional perspective, how we can give you tools and concepts that will allow you to journey to places that maybe you just don't need to, you want to journey to that you never had before, and help you unconsciously change some of the programming that you have. So with that being said, this is Real Stuff, Real Change. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll have it up on YouTube and up on the Facebook page here in just a little bit. So with that, have a great weekend. Happy Saturday night. Happy Easter to those who celebrate, and just enjoy your families wherever you're doing. Thank you. Peace.